Welcome back to Fly to Freedom. In this episode, I wanted to really address the question of, is it really possible to get past the fear of weight gain? So welcome back to the podcast, and let's get right into it. No sugarcoating, no holding back, because this is the most common and honestly most paralyzing fear in eating disorder recovery. So is it really possible to get past the fear of weight gain? And what I need you to hear from the very beginning is that yes, you can move past the fear of weight gain, but not in the way your brain is probably hoping. Because most people want to get over the fear first and then gain weight. But that's not how it works. You move through the fear of weight gain by gaining weight whilst you're still scared. There is no bypass, no detour. And honestly, if there was any way to avoid this part, I would have found it because I searched in every single direction possible. But that's only part of the truth, because gaining weight alone doesn't actually fix the fear either. If it did, we'd all be fine by now. You can gain weight and still live in constant fear, still punish yourself, still obsess, because the fear is not just about your size. It's about your beliefs, your conditioning, your nervous system, and your sense of worth. So let's unpack this deeply, honestly, and fully, because I want you to walk away from this episode not just with an answer, but with a roadmap. So let's start with the question so many people in recovery ask. Is it really possible to get past this fear of weight gain? But the truth is, that's not the real question most people are asking when they ask it. The real question is something deeper, more emotional, more personal. When you start digging underneath, it sounds more like, will I ever stop obsessing over my body? Will I ever feel safe if I let go of control? Will I ever be okay with myself if I'm not the thinnest version of me? Is it possible to actually feel free when my body looks so different than what I thought it should? And beneath that, there's something even more tender. It's the question that almost no one says out loud, but nearly everyone feels. If I gain weight, will I still be loved? Will I still matter? Will I be enough? Because this fear, it's not just about the number on the scales or the size of your clothes. It's about what you've been taught those things mean. We live in a world that praises weight loss and demonizes weight gain. From childhood, we're fed this lie that thin equals worthy, desirable, disciplined, successful, or even good. So it makes total sense that the idea of gaining weight feels terrifying, like losing your identity, your safety, your place in the world. But there's something else that a lot of people don't realize. The fear of weight gain isn't just coming from society. It's not just your upbringing or your environment or the media you consume. The fear of weight gain is part of the eating disorder itself. It's a symptom. Just like food obsession, ritualistic behaviors, just like the need to control or the fear of rest. The fear of weight gain is baked into the illness. It's how it keeps its grip on you. It whispers, don't you dare let go. If your body changes, everything will fall apart. You won't cope, you won't belong, you won't survive. And I want you to hear this loud and clear. That voice is not the truth. That voice is illness. It's the voice of a brain that's been starved, a nervous system that's been trapped in survival mode, a mindset that's been trained over years and years to associate thinness with safety and change with danger. So if you feel like you can't even imagine accepting weight gain, that's not a failure, and that's not a reason to quit. It's just proof of how deeply the eating disorder has taken root. And knowing that changes everything. Because once you understand that the fear itself is a symptom, you stop waiting for the fear to go away before you act. You stop trying to heal the fear before gaining weight, and you start to understand. You get past the fear of weight gain by gaining weight whilst you're still scared. You don't get to heal around it. You have to walk through it. And that's where the transformation begins. Not in the moment you stop feeling afraid, but in the moment you stop letting the fear make your choices for you. You don't wait for the fear to disappear before you gain weight. You don't suddenly wake up one day calm and confident and then decide, oh, all right, now I'm ready to nourish myself fully and accept body changes. It just doesn't work like that. You gain weight while you're scared. You rest whilst you're feeling the guilt. You eat while your mind is screaming. And that's not failure, that's recovery. The fear doesn't vanish first. It starts to soften because you start showing up differently. It shifts because you take action again and again and again that challenges the beliefs that keep it in place. So let me say it another way because it's so important. You don't feel safe and then eat. You eat and teach your brain that it's safe. Because fear, especially the kind wired into the nervous system by starvation, trauma, and control, it's not resolved by thinking. It's not healed by waiting. And it's not soothed by intellectual understanding alone. You can read every book. You can journal for hours. You can nod along to everything I say on this podcast. But unless you act, unless you choose to do the thing that scares you, your brain never gets a chance to learn something new. Because that's what this is. This isn't about just tolerating weight gain. It's about rewiring the entire belief system that told you weight gain meant failure. And your brain only rewires when you give it new evidence. Evidence that you can sit with discomfort and still be okay. Evidence that you can gain weight and still be worthy of love. Evidence that you can let go of control and not fall apart. Evidence that your world doesn't collapse when your body changes. And you don't get that evidence by thinking your way there. You get it by living it, feeling it, walking through it. And yes, it's hard, bloody terrifying at times. It will feel like your skin is on fire some days and you just want to crawl out of it. But remember what I said. This fear is part of the illness. It's not neutral. It's not simply a preference for a smaller body. It's a deeply conditioned, illness-driven reaction that will scream at you when you start to let go. And that doesn't mean you're doing the wrong thing. It means you're doing the hardest thing and probably the bravest. So if you're sitting there thinking, I'm not ready, I need the fear to pass before I can gain. I'm saying this with love, but also with truth. If you wait until you're not scared, you'll wait forever. You have to take action first. You have to go with the fear, not without it. The more you take the actions, the more your brain rewires. The more you sit with the discomfort, the more your nervous system learns it's survivable. The more you eat the thing, take the rest, wear the clothes, let the body soften, the more your entire system starts to trust that maybe this isn't danger after all. So that's what recovery is. It's not fearless, it's courageous. So let's say you do it. You face the fear, you gain weight, maybe you let go of some control. You eat more consistently, your body starts to soften or swell or store. You begin to look different, and maybe that terrifies you. Maybe you manage to push through. But the part nobody mentioned before is that weight gain by itself doesn't heal the fear. I'm going to say that again. Gaining weight without doing the inner work won't make the fear go away. You might restore weight, but if you don't restore your relationship with yourself, if you don't challenge the beliefs that made weight gain feel so terrifying in the first place, if you don't reclaim your identity outside of how you look, then what you've done is change the size of your body while still living in the prison of fear. And that's not freedom, it's just a heavier cage. And this is the part many people misunderstand. They think that once my body changes, the thoughts will change. But that's backwards. You can gain weight and still be trapped in body hatred. You can eat more and still hear the voice that says you're disgusting. You can physically look better to the outside world and still be fighting a war inside your head. And so if you've gained weight and you're wondering, why am I still scared? Why am I still obsessing? Why does nothing feel better? And this is why. Because recovery isn't just physical, sweetheart. It's mental, emotional, relational, and spiritual. It's the deep, beautiful, but very uncomfortable work of becoming whole again. I'm just popping in here quickly, sweetheart, because I just want to tell you that I've done something really special. And if this episode is resonating with you, I know you're going to love this. So many people inside the eating disorder recovery circle have messaged me saying how powerful my Overcoming the Fear of Weight Gain course has been for them. It's one of the most loved things I've ever created. Up until now, it's only been available inside the circle, but I'm opening it up. Very soon you'll be able to access it, even if you're not in the circle, just for a little while. All the details are in the show notes, and there's a really big link waiting for you at juliatrahane.com. Right, let's get back into the episode. This means you need to reframe the comments that used to trigger you. When someone says you look well, and your brain might jump to, they mean I've gained weight. Ask yourself, but what if they mean you look alive? You have colour in your face again, your spark is back. Recovery means catching that old reflex and choosing a different interpretation. You need to remind yourself constantly that feelings aren't facts. Just because you feel huge or unworthy or disgusting doesn't make it true. Feelings are messengers, not verdicts. They reflect your nervous system, not your actual value. You need to unpack where your beliefs came from. Who taught you that thinness meant safety? Who made you feel like your worth had to be earned through appearance? What memories, experiences, or messages shape that core fear? This is the real work. Not fixing your body, but understanding the parts of you that never felt safe being seen. You need to acknowledge that the fear of weight gain isn't just yours. It was planted in you by diet culture, by family comments, by social media, by every time you were praised for shrinking or shamed for softening, and by the eating disorder itself. Because as we said earlier, that fear is a symptom, a tactic, a way the illness maintains control. But that doesn't mean it's the truth. It means it's something to unlearn. And perhaps most importantly, you need to begin your inner journey of self-acceptance. Because the fear of weight gain is really a fear of being you, as you are, without a disguise. It's a fear of being judged, a fear of being rejected, a fear of not being good enough unless you look a certain way. And that never gets healed by the number on a scale. It gets healed by looking at yourself, soft, scared, swollen, and sacred, and saying, you're still worthy. You have always been worthy. That voice in you that says you're only lovable if you're thin, That's not your truth. That's your trauma. That's your conditioning. That's the eating disorder, not your soul. Your soul never asked you to shrink. Recovery means giving yourself permission to stop shrinking and start existing, not just in your body, but in your life. So yes, sweetheart, you do need to gain weight, but you also need to gain perspective, gain self-compassion, gain the ability to separate yourself from your thoughts, gain the courage to unpick the old stories and write a new one. Because otherwise you'll just carry the fear with you into a bigger body and wonder why you still feel hollow. You can't hate yourself into freedom. You cannot punish yourself into peace, and you certainly cannot change your body enough to silence a voice that was never about your body in the first place. And sweetheart, if no one's told you lately, you are allowed to exist in the body recovery gives you. You're allowed to take up space and not apologize for it, and you are allowed to be seen, not just physically, but emotionally, fully, vulnerably, without needing to earn it. So far, we've talked about how the fear of weight gain is fueled by culture, family, media, and how it's also a deeply embedded symptom of the eating disorder itself. But if we want to move past it, not just tolerate it, but actually heal it, we need to go deeper. We need to ask, where did it start in me? When did I first believe that being smaller made me more acceptable, more lovable, more safe? And here's where something really important comes in, that most people don't realize is shaping them. So much of this fear was formed by a younger version of you, your child mind, your child heart, and your child body. When you were little, you were just trying to make sense of the world, and you didn't have the tools or the emotional maturity to see things clearly. You didn't know how to say, that comment wasn't about me, it was about their insecurity. That silence wasn't rejection, they were overwhelmed. That praise for weight loss wasn't real love, it was just conditioning. Instead, what most of us did without even realizing it was internalize everything. We made the behavior of others mean something about us. We told ourselves things like, they got more attention because they were smaller. That must be the key to being liked. When I was thin, people treated me better, so I must need to stay that way. When I ate freely, I got criticized, so I must have done something wrong. If I just stay in control, I won't get hurt. And those beliefs, formed so early, didn't stay in our childhood. They grew up with us. They sank into our nervous systems, into our daily choices, into our relationship with food, rest, movement, and identity. This is why the fear of weight gain feels so big, because it's not just about your body changing. It's about your sense of worth, safety, and identity being threatened. If you learned from a young age that taking up space meant danger, or that your value depended on how you looked, or how much you pleased others, or how little you needed, then of course you now associate gaining weight with shame, rejection, and fear. This didn't start with your adult self. It started with a younger part of you who was just trying to survive, who interpreted what was happening around them and tried to make it make sense. Not because you were broken, but because you were doing your best with the limited information you had. So if you're struggling now with body image, food, letting go of control, doesn't make you weak or shallow or stuck. It means you're still carrying a story you never asked to hold. So how do we unlearn it? How do we begin to move those deeply rooted beliefs and create something new? It starts with curiosity and compassion and a willingness to look underneath the fear and ask, what was I taught, directly or indirectly, about bodies, love, value or safety? What did I absorb without anyone ever needing to say a word? What did I start believing about myself based on how I was treated? Sometimes the wounds are obvious, and sometimes they're subtle, like a parent always on a diet, or compliments when you looked a certain way, jokes about your body that nobody thought were cruel, friends getting more attention when they were thinner, praise for perfection, discomfort when you showed big emotions. These are the moments that plant beliefs, and those beliefs don't stay in childhood. They keep playing in the background until we press pause and ask, is this still true? Is this still mine? Do I want to keep living by this rule? And perhaps the most powerful shift of all is beginning to speak to yourself the way you needed someone to speak to you back then. Because that younger part of you, they're still here, still holding on, still waiting for safety. You get to offer it now. You get to say, you don't have to earn love with how you look. You never needed to disappear to be accepted. You're allowed to be seen, heard, and to be exactly as you are. It's not about blaming your past, it's about reclaiming your present. Because the fear of weight gain is built on a foundation of unspoken beliefs. And now you have the power to name them, challenge them, and replace them. That's how you stop letting a scared younger version of you run the show. That's how you bring your healing adult self into the room. That's how you rebuild safety inside your body instead of chasing it through control. So if the fear of weight gain still feels ginormous right now, you're not broken or failing. You're responding to old programming with the same survival instincts that once protected you. But now, sweetheart, it's time for something different. It's time to remind your system, I don't have to live like this anymore. I'm safe now. I'm allowed to take up space and I am worthy, full stop. So now you know the fear of weight gain didn't start with you. You didn't wake up one day and decide to fear your body. You learned that fear. It was modeled to you, mirrored to you, spoken or implied, and eventually internalized until it felt like the truth. But what do you do with all that? How do you move forward knowing the fear might still be there? How do you keep showing up again and again without waiting for that fear to disappear? And the answer is simple, but powerful. You choose. Every day you choose. You choose to stop abandoning yourself. You choose to act in alignment with recovery rather than fear. You choose to stay with the parts of you that want to run and gently show them that it's safe to stay. This is where self-compassion becomes non-negotiable, because you will have hard days and you will feel the pull to go back, and you will hear the voice that says, this is too much, you're getting it wrong, you'll never ever feel okay like this. And if your only plan is to white knuckle it through, to force, to push, to perform recovery perfectly, you'll burn out. Because perfection was part of the problem to begin with. What you need instead is care, compassion, and consistency. You need a new voice, one that says, of course this is hard. It makes sense that you're scared, but I'm not leaving you this time. I'm here. I've got you. That voice, it's yours. The voice of the adult you who is choosing to stay present, to stay kind and to show up for the child inside who never got what they needed. Try this. Place your hand on your heart and take a breath. Ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? What does the younger part of me need to hear? Can I stay with myself in this discomfort instead of abandoning myself to avoid it? That's what healing looks like. Not dramatic breakthroughs, but thousands of tiny choices to respond with compassion instead of control. And when you feel the fear, because you will, you don't have to fight it. You don't have to shame it. You just have to witness it. You get to say, I see you, fear. I know you're here because you think you're protecting me, but I'm safe now, and I'm making a different choice. Your recovery becomes a relationship with yourself, a commitment to keep coming back, to keep choosing nourishment, to keep validating your emotions without letting them steer the wheel. It's about checking in every single day. How is my inner child feeling today? Is there a part of me that's anxious, sad, overwhelmed? What would it look like to respond with love instead of rules? What's one thing I will do today to honor myself and not the fear? Even if it's just something small. Eating the snack when the voice says don't. Wearing the outfit even if it feels unfamiliar. Resting on your sofa without earning it. Saying to yourself out loud, I'm allowed to be here, in this body today. This is how you rewire your nervous system. This is how you rebuild trust. This is how the fear stops running the show. Not because it vanishes, but because it no longer dictates your choices. And remember, there's no finish line for self-compassion. You don't graduate from needing kindness. If anything, recovery deepens your capacity to care for yourself, because the goal isn't to feel nothing. The goal is to feel everything and still know you're safe, to feel fear and still eat, to feel sadness and still rest, to feel bloated, insecure, or angry and still say, you are worthy, you are safe, and I'm here with you. Every time you respond to yourself like that, you break a rule the eating disorder taught you. You send a signal to your brain that says, this is different now. We don't do punishment anymore. We do care. So if you're still listening to this and thinking, I'm still scared, I still feel unsure, I don't know how to love this version of me, that's okay. Just start here. Start with one act of gentleness, one compassionate check-in, one recovery-aligned choice that says, I will not shrink myself back into safety. I am choosing freedom. And when you mess it up, because you will, you don't need to spiral. You just need to come back. Come back to your breath. Come back to your body. Come back to your inner child who is waiting for your reassurance. And you get to say, you didn't do anything wrong, sweetheart. I've still got you, and we're on this path together. I'm not going anywhere. So let's come full circle. We began with the question, is it really possible to get past the fear of weight gain? And now, after walking through the fear, the wiring, the childhood roots, the compassion and the choices, you might still be wondering, but is it worth it? Is this discomfort, this feeling of battle, this resistance really worth the freedom on the other side? And I want to say this from the deepest part of my heart. Yes, yes it is. Because what you gain when you stop shrinking goes far, far beyond your body. It's not just about eating the pizza or buying the bigger jeans or deleting the bloody counting apps. They're just surface level shifts. The real magic, the real reward is when you get back what the fear stole from you. You gain mental space, the kind you forgot was even possible, the kind of peace where your brain isn't constantly calculating, comparing and criticizing, the kind where food becomes just food again, and your worth isn't swinging on the numbers in your head. You gain time, so much time to be present with people you love, to explore what actually lights you up, and to live, not just exist, but live in your life instead of performing it. You gain joy, real joy, not the fleeting high of a good body day, but the kind of joy that's rooted in being alive. Spontaneous ice cream at the beach, laughing and joking and dancing at weddings and falling asleep with a full tummy and an unburdened heart. You gain connection with others, but more importantly with yourself. Because when you stop filtering your worth through appearance, you actually get to meet the version of you who's been buried beneath the fear. And they are incredible. Most of all, you gain you. You gain the self who isn't at war, the self who doesn't apologize for existing, the self who says, I don't have to earn my place here, I already belong. The self who feels their feelings instead of numbing them. The self who offers comfort, not criticism when things feel hard. You gain the life you were always meant to live, a full, free, embodied, meaningful life. Not because your body fits some standard, because you finally decided that your life was more important than your fear. So let me tell you this in case no one else ever has. There's nothing wrong with your softness. There's nothing shameful about taking up space, and there's nothing broken about your body changing. And there is everything right about choosing to be here in this life instead of hiding from it. You're not here to disappear. You're not here to be small, silent, acceptable. You are here to live, to feel, to heal, to make mistakes and fuck it up and come back stronger, and to hold your inner child and to say, I won't abandon you again. And yes, this path is hard and it's messy and it will stretch you in ways you have never imagined. But you were never meant to carry the fear forever. You were never meant to walk around measuring your worth in mirror reflections, and you were never, ever meant to be afraid of nourishment or rest or being seen. You were always meant to be whole. And freedom doesn't come when the fear disappears. It comes when you stop obeying it. So if you're still asking yourself, can I really get past this? Try asking this instead. What will I gain if I do? Because I promise you, the version of life waiting for you on the other side of this fear is bigger, braver, and more beautiful than anything the eating disorder ever promised you. And because you're here listening to this, you're already on your way. So, my love, if you're still wondering, will this fear ever go away? Let me say this again. It doesn't just vanish. You don't wait until the fear fades to begin. You begin despite the fear. And slowly, over time, through repeated action and compassion, the feelings start to follow. It's not the feelings that lead to recovery, it's the actions that reshape the feelings. And that's the truth. So stop waiting to feel ready. Stop waiting to not be scared. Stop waiting to fully love your body before you feed it, rest it, clothe it with care, or stop fighting it. Start now. Start here and keep going, even if it's shaky, even if it's messy, because it will be. And if you want a space to walk this road with others who get it, who are facing the same fears and choosing freedom anyway, come and join us inside the Eating Disorder Recovery Circle. It's a space where we don't just talk about healing, we live it together. So take a deep breath, put your hand on your heart, and remember, you don't have to be fearless. You just have to stop letting fear decide your life. Start doing the things the scared part of you believes are impossible, because I promise they're not. So I'm just going to end this episode sending you love, freedom, and the deepest belief in your healing. And I'll see you all next week.